Universities are rejecting pay cuts. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Still working through my morning shine of coffee, and I thought we'd look at this article from The Australian discussing, universities rejecting pay cuts. Now, in previous articles we've read about universities who are suffering from the decline in international students. They want to do everything they can to bring them in. Most of our, sandstone, posh universities have over $500 billion worth of their income coming from international students. They're a little addicted to them, guys. So, let's have a look at this. Job fears as universities reject pay cuts. Now, there's a lot of carbohydrates in the universities, guys. A lot of stuff you should chuck out. And carbohydrates is my way of saying trim the fat. Because, honestly, the work I've done in universities is just, there's a lot of waste and a lot of growth in bureaucracies. A lot of paperwork. A lot of paperwork. So fears are growing of huge job losses in the university sector after 2 more universities rejected a union-backed deal to increase job protection for university staff in exchange for pay cuts. Well, guys, it's probably time that the universities cut some of the dead weight they had. They cut some of the people they didn't need. UNSW and CQ University joined at least 8 other universities in declining to join the deal, called the Jobs Protection Framework, which was negotiated between the university's own employer group, the Australian Higher Education Industry Association, and the National Tertiary Education Union. UNSW faces a revenue hit of up to $600 million from international student losses following the pandemic travel ban, worse than any other Australian university. And its rejection of the pay cut deal signals that major job cuts are likely to follow. I mean, guys, it's inevitable. I mean, how can you not expect that to happen? How can you not expect that to happen, guys? 600 million. We'll scroll up here and I'll find the chart in the other article we were looking at. We've got international students crash. I mean, there you go, guys. Look at all these. This is overseas student fees. 884. UNSW 712 of the entire revenue of the other income. It's a big chunk, guys. Imagine losing that overnight, which is essentially what has happened. No university, only the few of the little ones, don't seem to have that exposure. And you'll see the unions, it's because of budget cuts to the tertiary sector. There's a lot of waste in the tertiary sector, guys. There's a lot of waste. We'll see how they frame it. A joint message to UNSW staff from Vice-Chancellor Ian Jacobs and Provost Annie Simmons said, given the scale of the financial pressure we are facing, we cannot pursue the NTEU AHEIA proposal. I mean, there you go. They said they were concerned that adopting the pay cut deal would constrain the university in making important decisions about managing the implications of the pandemic over the next year. So they're looking at all their options, guys. They're looking at actually having to make serious cuts. That's what I'm seeing here. Am I the only one seeing that? We've also seen other articles of where student travel is being affected, where student accommodation is taking a hit. The university sector is taking a hit. And then I'd imagine, I've got an image up here just from a recent video I did. The last video I recorded looking at West End and these apartments, where they haven't made any capital growth in a decade. Now, knowing where this suburb is located, just here in Brisbane, let's say, and I'll exit the ground view. Knowing where this is located, we zoom up and we'll go now to the future. We zoom out here. So this is just a Brisbane example. You've got West End right here, pretty much. South Bank here, West End here. You've got QUT here, over here, my alumni. And you've got the University of Queensland over here. You've also got Griffith, smaller campus here. So I will bet a carton that a lot of this accommodation is servicing these three education institutions, if not others. So if there's a hit to employment at the universities, it's going to flow through to those, well, to those properties, to the ability for people to pay their mortgages on those expensive properties which are copy-pasted for all of the others. They said they were concerned that I've already read that. CQ University Vice Chancellor Nick Klomp said that his university executive had decided against adopting the job cuts protection deal because it would only give the universities temporary financial relief while reducing conditions for all staff. The UQ University executive does not support enforcing pay cuts and reduced working hours, which would be by far the biggest contributors to any temporary cost savings, he said. CQ University must be focused on long-term success and sustainability rather than temporary cost reduction measures. Well, it just shows you the difference in perspective. It shows you where the university are just looking for short-term. I think, the unions are just looking at short-term. I think that's probably, sums up their entire sector, doesn't it? The jobs protection framework would have reduced the pay of staff, except casual employees, at a participating university by up to 15% for 1 year. In return, universities would not involuntarily stand down staff without pay and would undertake to exhaust all options before making staff redundant. I mean, how would you feel if you are a university worker there that you're taking a pay cut for lazy people that you think should lose their job? You know, this is the problem when you've got the socialism, guys. When the socialism catches on, you all cop it for even the people in the Pareto principle who aren't part of the 20% actually producing. There'd be a lot of dead weight in those organizations, guys. You know, maybe QUT could save money by abolishing their, segregation. Get rid of that race segregation in your computer labs, guys. It still seems insane in the 21st century we've got that here in Australia. Unbelievable. So universities would also be required to open their books to a national panel made up of 3 university nominees, 3 union nominees, and an independent chair, which would judge how severe the university's financial situation was and whether staff would be required to take a 5% or a 15% cut. This is insane. This is insane. Having another party essentially run your business for you, make your business decisions for you. Unbelievable. I mean, and that's what the unions want. They want all the control. They want all the control with none of the risk. It's the world we live in, guys. In order for a university to participate in the job protection framework, a majority of its staff would have to support a temporary 12-month change to their enterprise bargaining agreement. 8 other universities have already rejected the framework or indicated they are very unlikely to take part. However, the NTEU National Council approved the job protection framework on Wednesday, which cleared the last obstacle on the union side to go ahead. The NTEU estimates that adopting the framework nationally would save about 12,000 jobs in universities, against the 21,000 which Universities Australia expects are likely to be lost this year due to the pandemic if no actions are taken. The union's national president, Alison Barnes, said the UNSW email to staff was callous and self-defeating. It is mind-blowingly irresponsible, especially when a framework has been built which will allow them to treat staff with fairness and preserve and retain their greatest asset, their people, she said. It just shows a lack of understanding of business, just shows a lack of understanding of the challenges that they have. And businesses aren't your greatest asset in your people. People can shift and move and do. Business people are not loyal. They'll go to other places. That's called the market, guys, and we're allowed to do that. The NTEU Queensland Secretary, Michael McNally, said the CQ University had opted for job cuts over job security because it's going to make a longer-term impact. And remember, when you cut jobs, it's hard to get rid of people. This may be the only chance they've got to cull some people. It's a slap in the face for university staff who opted to take leave, forgo pay rises, take part-time appointments, even take a temporary pay cut to save their colleagues' jobs, he said. Well, it's because the university staff don't actually understand the implications of what's going on. They don't appreciate the financial situation the universities are in, and they only see their tiny little slice of reality. That's the sad truth of it, guys. I think this is going to flow through to property parts of different cities. I mean, we've got 21,000 people potentially losing their jobs it's going to impact. What do you think, guys? Where do you think it'll impact? How does it look like in your cities? And do you feel sorry for the universities that are forced to actually take a hit? Or just with their dependence on international students, is this just what we're seeing? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you're a fan of the channel and you'd like to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay or Independent Reserve and Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time.